It happened quietly, buried deep in page 1247 of a massive 1,850-page climate bill that nobody read. By the early hours of Tuesday morning, while the country slept and headlines chased the latest celebrity scandal, it became law. Congress called it routine, but it is anything but. Hidden in bureaucratic language lies the legal authority for one of the largest transfers of private wealth in American history. The Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve Authorization Act gives the federal government the power to inventory, regulate, and even confiscate private holdings of strategic materials deemed essential for renewable energy. Translation: your silver, platinum, or palladium could be next, all under the guise of saving the planet. This is not theory. This is reality. And if you have any precious metals, any significant investments in strategic materials, or if you believe your property rights are secure, you need to understand exactly what just happened. Because in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the entire mechanism, show you the historical precedent, reveal the tracking systems already in place, and give you the exact survival strategies you need to implement right now. Not next month, not when you see it on the news. Right now. In 1933, Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102, confiscating private gold, promising it was temporary, while the government profited 69% within a year. On April 5, 1933, every American citizen was ordered to surrender their gold to the Federal Reserve. You had until May 1st to comply. That's less than a month. The government paid $20.67 per ounce. If you refused, you faced a $10,000 fine, which today equals approximately $220,000, or 10 years in federal prison. Most Americans complied. They trusted their government. They believed it was temporary. They were told it was for the economic recovery. Approximately 500 tons of gold were collected. That gold was worth about $12 billion in 1933 money. That translates to over $30 billion today. Once the government collected all that gold, they immediately revalued it to $35 per ounce. That's a 69% increase overnight. The government made a massive profit. Every American who surrendered their gold lost purchasing power instantly. Their wealth was transferred directly to the federal government. That temporary emergency measure lasted 41 years. Americans couldn't legally own gold again until 1974. Some people say it was different because it was during the Great Depression. They say we had a gold-backed currency and the situation was unique. They are right that the context was different. But the mechanism is identical. Declare an emergency. Expand government powers. Confiscate private assets. Profit from the transfer. In 1933, it was an economic emergency. Today, it's a climate emergency. Different wrapper, same strategy? Today, almost a century later, the same blueprint is being applied, smarter, quieter, and under a green flag. The plan unfolds in 4 steps. We are currently between Step 1 and Step 2. Step 1 is legal authority, granted in December 2025. This is the Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve Authorization Act, hidden on page 1247 of that climate bill. The language is deliberately vague. It authorizes the Department of Energy to establish a strategic reserve of critical minerals essential for renewable energy infrastructure and national security. Sounds reasonable, right? But it actually authorizes the power to inventory private holdings. It gives authority to regulate transactions and transfers. It creates the legal framework for seizure under emergency conditions. Step 2 is the inventory system, currently being built. It uses 6 different tracking mechanisms to monitor ownership. Federal agencies are coordinating with state authorities, financial institutions, and private dealers to create a comprehensive database. They are not calling it a confiscation list. They are calling it a national resource assessment. But make no mistake about what it actually is. Step 3 is the trigger event, a manufactured crisis like an energy shortage. This has not happened yet. The groundwork is being laid. You will see increased media coverage about energy grid vulnerabilities. Stories about critical mineral shortages threatening renewable energy deployment will appear. Political rhetoric blaming private holders for preventing progress on climate goals will grow. When this narrative shifts from occasional news stories to daily headlines, Step 3 has begun. Step 4 is seizure activation. Confiscation will be executed only once the prior steps are in place. This is the endgame. They learned from 1933. They will not rush this. They will make it seem inevitable, justified, and patriotic. By the time most people realize what's happening, it will be too late to protect themselves. The timeline from legal authority to active seizure is estimated at 18 to 24 months. We are currently 4 months in. That means you have approximately 14 to 20 months before this goes from theoretical to operational. Your window to act is much shorter than that. The tracking systems are already operational. First, bullion dealer reports. Under federal law, dealers must file Form 8300 for cash transactions over $10,000. The threshold for reporting precious metals purchases is actually much lower. Any transaction over 25 ounces of gold triggers a report. 100 ounces of platinum triggers a report. 1,000 ounces of silver triggers a report. These reports go directly to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN. FINCEN shares data with the IRS, FBI, and now the Department of Energy. Second, bank wire records. If you wired money to purchase metals from a dealer, the transaction is logged in the Bank Secrecy Act database. Banks are required to maintain these records for 5 years, but in practice, they keep them indefinitely. Every wire transfer over $3,000 generates a currency transaction report, even if it's not cash. Your bank knows what you bought, when you bought it, and where you sent the money. Third, safe deposit box logs. Banks maintain detailed access records for safe deposit boxes. Under the Patriot Act, these logs can be accessed by federal authorities without a warrant in cases of national security or financial crimes. Under the new climate legislation, critical mineral hoarding could be classified as economic sabotage. Fourth, import documentation. If you purchased metals from overseas suppliers, every shipment through U.S. Customs generates an entry record. Customs and Border Protection maintains a database called the Automated Commercial Environment. This database tracks every import by item, value, and consignee. If you imported silver, platinum, or palladium in the last 7 years, that data exists in a federal database. Fifth, online digital footprints. If you researched precious metals investments, visited dealer websites, participated in forums, or watched videos, you created a digital trail. Data brokers aggregate this information and sell it to private companies and government agencies. NSA's PRISM program, revealed by Edward Snowden, showed federal agencies have backdoor access to major tech platforms. If they want to identify people interested in precious metals, they have the tools to do it. Sixth, blockchain wallet surveillance. If you purchased tokenized precious metals or used cryptocurrency to buy physical metals, every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. The IRS has contracted with blockchain analysis firms like Chainalysis and Elliptic to trace cryptocurrency transactions. They can identify wallet owners, track purchase patterns, and connect digital assets to real-world identities. If you purchased, transferred, or stored precious metals in recent years, you are visible. The question is not whether they can find you. The question is whether they will target you. That depends on how valuable your holdings are and how the political situation develops. There are survival strategies. The wealthy and family offices are already implementing them. First, convert generic silver into graded collectible coins to create a numismatic exemption. In 1933, Roosevelt's executive order exempted rare and unusual coins of numismatic value. The same exemption language appears in the current legislation. A 1-ounce silver American Eagle in generic condition is considered bullion and subject to confiscation. That same coin, if graded MS-70 by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, becomes a collectible with numismatic premium. The cost to convert is minimal. Professional grading runs about $30 to $50 per coin. Coins that grade high can be worth substantially more than their silver content. If you have 1,000 ounces of generic silver rounds, convert at least half into high-grade collectible coins. This creates a legal gray area that complicates confiscation. The government doesn't want to fight legal battles over what constitutes numismatic value. They want easy targets. Second, store metals offshore in secure jurisdictions like Switzerland or Singapore. Switzerland has the strongest private property protections in the world. Switzerland has never confiscated private gold or silver. Even during World War II, Singapore offers similar protections and is outside Western regulatory reach. Companies like Brinks Singapore and Singapore Freeport provide allocated storage. Allocated storage means your metals are physically segregated and identified as your property. They are not pooled with other clients. Storage fees typically run about 0.5 to 1% annually. This is far cheaper than the potential 100% loss from confiscation. You can access your metals anytime. Singapore has direct flights to most major cities. If you hold $50,000 or more in metal value, offshore storage is essential. Third, shift wealth into gold. Gold isn't on the confiscation list. Current legislation targets industrial metals essential for renewable energy, silver for solar panels, platinum for hydrogen fuel cells, and palladium for catalytic converters. Gold has minimal industrial use. Gold is primarily a monetary metal in jewelry. The government isn't concerned about gold hoarding affecting renewable energy deployment. This could change in the future. For now, gold is safer than silver or platinum. If you hold significant silver positions, consider converting 30 to 50% into gold. Gold is more expensive per ounce, but it is more portable and outside the confiscation framework. Fourth, document private transactions to create plausible deniability. If you purchase metals through private sales, garage sales, estate sales, or person-to-person transactions, those purchases may not be in any federal database. Document these with private bills of sale. Store them somewhere secure, not in a bank safe deposit box that authorities can access. If the government asks about metals they think you own, you can claim you sold those metals in private transactions years ago. Documentation supports your claim. This isn't tax evasion. You are simply creating documentation for assets you legitimately own. The burden of proof falls on the government. If you can show documentation of sales, even to unnamed private parties, it complicates their case. The timeline is critical. The quiet period from December 2025 to March 2026 is the window to act. This is where we are right now. Most people have no idea this legislation passed. The media isn't covering it. Dealers aren't warning their clients. You have approximately 3 months of relative calm to take action before things start accelerating. During this period, you need to inventory everything you own. Make a comprehensive list. What metals, how much, where stored, and how purchased. Make strategic decisions. What percentage will you convert to numismatic coins? What percentage will you move offshore? What percentage will you shift to gold? Execute these moves systematically. Don't panic, sell everything at once. Don't make obvious patterns. Spread transactions over several weeks. Use multiple dealers if possible. From April to June 2026, voluntary reporting surveys from the Department of Energy will appear. Do not respond. These surveys will be framed as national planning exercises. They will claim the information is confidential and used only for aggregate statistical analysis. This is a lie. These are target lists disguised as research. The Department of Energy will send surveys to known dealers requesting customer lists. They will request banks to provide records of precious metals transactions. They may contact individuals identified through tax records or dealer reports. If you receive one of these surveys, understand that responding is voluntary. They cannot compel you to answer without a court order. Do not provide any information. Do not confirm or deny ownership. Do not engage at all. Simply discard it. If they follow up by phone or email, decline politely but firmly. You have no legal obligation to assist in their inventory process. In summer 2026, the trigger event strikes. Rolling blackouts, media frenzy, and political narratives blaming hoarders. This is when public conditioning accelerates. You will see coordinated messaging across major news networks about energy grid instability. Reports about failures in renewable energy deployment due to mineral shortages will appear. Investigative reports about wealthy investors hoarding strategic materials while average Americans suffer will be highlighted. The narrative will be carefully crafted. They will find examples of large private holders and demonize them as unpatriotic. This will justify broader action. You will hear phrases like economic patriotism, shared sacrifice, and emergency measures for the common good. Politicians will give speeches. Experts will appear on cable news. Social media will amplify the message. By the end of summer, public opinion will have been shaped to support confiscation as necessary and just. By fall 2026, if the government decides to proceed, mandatory reporting, fines, and seizure notices will be issued. This will trap the unprepared. This is the end game. Once we reach this point, your options become extremely limited. Mandatory reporting means you will receive official notices requiring you to declare all holdings of specified metals within a set time frame, typically 30 to 90 days. Failure to report accurately will be classified as a federal crime. Penalties could be the same as the 1933 gold confiscation, massive fines and imprisonment. Seizure notices will follow for those who report significant holdings. You will be required to surrender specified quantities at government-set prices. Those prices will be below market value. They will be justified by claims of national emergency and fair compensation requirements. Legal challenges will take years. By then, the metals will be gone. The money will be worth less due to inflation. Legally, the Fifth Amendment guarantees due process and just compensation. History shows that just can be arbitrary. As it was in 1933, the Fifth Amendment states that private property cannot be taken for public use without just compensation. This is the Takings Clause. It is supposed to protect citizens from government seizure. But the definition of just compensation is determined by the government itself. In 1933, the government declared $20.67 per ounce as just compensation for gold. The market was clearly willing to pay more. Evidence was the immediate revaluation to $35 per ounce. Courts upheld this because emergency powers override normal constitutional protections during national crises. The legal precedent is clear. If the government declares an emergency, your constitutional protections become negotiable. Acting early is essential. Once the machinery is in motion, legal options disappear. Before mandatory reporting begins, you can move assets without creating a federal record of non-compliance. You can convert bullion to collectibles without triggering suspicion. You can establish offshore storage without appearing to flee jurisdiction. Once reporting requirements activate, every move you make creates potential legal liability. Consider this scenario. You receive a mandatory reporting notice in October 2026. You truthfully report that you no longer own the metals because you sold them in private transactions earlier that year. The government demands documentation. You provide bills of sale to unnamed private parties. They investigate and cannot locate buyers or confirm transactions. Now you are under suspicion of hiding assets. They subpoena your bank records, email accounts, and phone records looking for evidence of where the metals went. Even if you did everything legally, you now spend tens of thousands of dollars on legal defense. You deal with federal investigators. You live under the stress of potential prosecution. This is why acting early before reporting requirements exist is critical. Move assets during the window when moving them is normal investment activity, not evidence of non-compliance. The choice is clear. Comply, resist, or adapt. Compliance means surrendering your metals at government-determined prices and accepting the wealth transfer. Resistance means refusing to comply, inviting prosecution, asset seizure through court orders, and potential imprisonment. Neither option is attractive. Adaptation is the only safe path. Adaptation means moving what you can, protecting it through legal structures and jurisdictional diversification, documenting everything to create plausible scenarios, and educating others. Every informed citizen makes confiscation harder to execute because informed people take protective action, challenge the narrative, and create political pressure against overreach. Remember 1933. Those who planned ahead avoided losing everything. Some Americans saw the writing on the wall before Executive Order 6102. They moved gold to foreign accounts, particularly in Switzerland and Canada. They converted gold into jewelry and collectible coins, which were exempted. They sold gold privately and held cash or converted it to other assets. When the confiscation order came, these individuals had already protected themselves. The ones who suffered trusted the system. They believed the government wouldn't actually do it. They waited to see what would happen. Some simply didn't pay attention until it was too late. Don't be in that group. Today you have the internet and alternative media on your side. Information travels instantly. You can research strategies, connect with experts, and execute protective measures within days or weeks, not months or years. The challenge in 1933 was information scarcity. Most Americans had no idea the executive order was coming until it was announced. They had no way to research historical precedents or international options. They relied entirely on newspapers controlled by large publishers with close government relationships. Today you have no excuse. The information is available. The strategies are known. The tools exist. The only question is whether you'll use them. If you act now, you can be the smart money, not the compliant victim. Your mission is simple but urgent. Inventory your metals. Decide which to convert, which to store offshore, and which to shift to gold, then execute immediately. Don't wait until next month. Don't wait to see if this is really going to happen. By the time it is obvious to everyone, protective action becomes illegal or impossible. Document every move. Keep records of conversions, storage agreements, and transactions in a secure location outside of bank-safe deposit boxes. Share this intelligence to protect your circle. Send this video to family members who own precious metals. Discuss strategies with trusted friends. The more people who understand what's happening, the harder confiscation becomes to execute politically. This is not fear-mongering. It is intelligence. I'm not telling you the sky is falling. Legislation has been passed. Tracking systems are operational. The same blueprint used in 1933 is being deployed today under a different justification. These are facts. The green confiscation is no longer hypothetical. It is becoming probable. The window to act is open, but it is closing. You have approximately 3 months of relative quiet to take protective action before the voluntary reporting phase begins. Use that time wisely. Stay informed, stay sovereign. Understand that your property rights are not guaranteed by the Constitution. They are guaranteed by your willingness to protect them proactively before the government moves to take them. The choice is yours. The clock is ticking.